for coming out to our first ever Talking Trash event in Valemount. My name is Rachael Ryder, and I'm the Waste Diversion Program Leader for the Regional District. And with me is Nathan Hartnett. He is also our Waste Diversion Coordinator. We've been having some issues with our PowerPoint. Come on, you can do it. There we go. So if you've seen the promotion for this event, you may be aware of the fact that October is Waste Reduction Month. And the third week of October is Waste Reduction Week. So we wanted to take this opportunity to highlight the fact that there are initiatives out there to help with waste reduction, and we wanted to share some of the ones from the Regional District with you this evening. So our agenda looks something like this, if I can make this thing work. So we're going to touch on the waste reduction initiatives that are available in the Regional District, so recycling, reducing our food waste, the composting that's available. We'll touch on some of the problems with illegal dumping, and then we will answer any questions that we might not have already answered for you. So the Regional District encompasses 52,000 square kilometers in the province of BC. And within that area, we have 17 transfer stations, and that it serves just over 94,000 people, 94,000 residents. So in 2018, we collected 9,000 tons of waste from our rural transfer stations. And that waste went to Prince George, where it was added to the waste that was collected in Prince George. And so in 2018, we actually buried 73,000 tons of waste in the Foothills landfill. So that's kind of shocking. But so we want to provide a few ways to help you reduce the amount of waste that we create and that goes into the landfill. So I'm sure we're all very familiar with the three R's. We've all grown up with the idea of reduce. Reuse. Thank you. Come on.
You want to try?
There we go. Reduce, reuse, and recycle. So because we live in a world where we're producing more and more waste, we want you to consider a fresh approach. And if you've looked at the back there, you saw that we've actually come up with 6 R's. So we'll get the 3 that we know. So reduce, reuse, recycle are key components of waste diversion. Reducing our consumption, reusing what we can, and as a last option, when the other 2 have been exhausted, is to send it for recycling. So now we offer you Rethink. Consider Rethink as the first step in your waste reduction. Rethink your choices, your purchases, where you shop. Do you need it? Come on in. Taking the time to rethink our consumption of purchases gives us an opportunity to adjust our behavior and decrease the amount of waste we create. Next comes, if it will show up, refuse. This step is all about saying no to excess waste. As consumers, we can refuse to accept wasteful products, just say no to single-use items such as plastic bags, straws, to-go containers. And if you haven't already, consider having your monthly bills sent to you electronically or through your email. And then our 6th option, that's okay, is repair. This is a step that I feel is often overlooked. When an item breaks down or is no longer functions properly, fix it. When considering a new purchase, can that product be easily repaired? Are there components that can be replaced rather than having to recycle or dispose of the entire product? So for the Regional District, we have come up with a branding scheme to help bring together all of our waste reduction initiatives. Sorry, this is going to drive me crazy. And they fall under our brand called Smart Waste Evolution. So the idea behind our brand is, and the term evolution, is to explain that maybe what we were doing before wasn't wrong, but we just need to refocus our energy and our initiatives to be fine-tuned for the processes of today's world. So part of our Smart Waste Evolution brand is the logo Sort Smart, and you may have seen that on our posters and on the pamphlets that we have. Sort Smart is ultimately what we're asking our residents to do when they are dealing with their waste. So Sort Smart is unique to the regional district. We use it on our brochures, as I mentioned, and we actually have our own website. So if you just type in sortsmart.ca, you can get access to the information that we have provided on the regional district website about waste reduction initiatives. And if we can get this to continue to work, I will hand it over to Nathan, and he will talk about recycling and food waste.
All right, so let's dive into the waste reduction initiatives that the regional district offers at our solid waste facilities and through Sort Smart. The multi-material recycling bin is located in the Valemount transfer station. The regional district has developed this program to mirror the curbside recycling programs in Prince George and throughout the province. We are into our 5th year, and we still find there's quite a little bit of confusion around the mixed cartons and containers section of it. So we encourage our residents to use the pamphlets if they have any questions. So the cartons and containers section of the multi-material recycling bin causes a lot of confusion. The pamphlets detail the items that can and can't go in them. So aerosol cans, we take hairspray, deodorant, shaving cream, food-based aerosols like PAM. Spray paint cans and propane cylinders aren't part of the recycling program, so those are not allowed in our bins. Ice cream cartons and microwavable paper containers are accepted for recycling. Materials should be emptied and rinsed out, so that way when they get to the recycling facility, it's not a health hazard for the sorters. Plastic lids and containers are usually a very big problem for our bins. So when you get a clamshell, like the ones with the cookies there, or you buy grapes, they come in, when it has food in it, that can go into our bin. But if they have, say, when it doesn't come with food, so like a Tupperware container with a lid that it doesn't, so it doesn't go into our bin. There we go. So there's many items that we don't take in our bins, and those are depot only. Full disclaimer, the depot is in Prince George, so we have the Hart Return Center and the Prince George Recycling Center near Costco. So they take styrofoam, glass, and plastic bags and overwrap. Recently, they just added the potato chip bags and snack bags, so in our pamphlet, that's a little outdated. You can ignore that part, they'll take that there. If you've consulted the pamphlet and you have any questions, feel free to contact the regional district at 1-800-667-1959 or call Recycle BC at 1-800-667-4321. So all these recycling programs are part of extended producer responsibility programs. The recycling programs that Valemount has are beverage containers, end-of-life electronics, small appliances, paint, and beer containers. Extended producer responsibility programs are meant to take the cost from the consumer from the local governments and put it back onto the consumers and producers. So when you buy a product, there's an eco fee. That eco fee goes towards recycling the product. Just recently, so last January, we implemented major appliances recycling. So we'll take fridges, freezers, anything with ODS in it, as well as other large appliances like stoves and dishwashers, and they can be recycled at the Valemount transfer station. Love Food, Hate Waste is a national initiative that the regional district has partnered with, along with 26 other regional districts, municipalities. It empowers residents to reduce the amount of food waste through education. We have a quick video by them with a few shocking facts.
We all love food, but even so, we waste 450,000 eggs a day in Canada. But that's not all. We also dump 1 million cups of milk down the drain and throw out 2,400,000 potatoes every single day. The naked truth? Canadians waste way too much food. Food waste from our homes is having a major impact on our environment. But unlike many of the problems facing us today, this one is easy to solve. Love Food, Hate Waste Canada is a movement that utilizes technology, education, and community to tackle this important issue. A growing body of evidence tells us just how big the problem is. In 2017, the National Zero Waste Council's research showed that over 60% of food waste is avoidable. Things like stale bread, spoiled fruit, expired dairy, wilted lettuce, it all adds up. Fact is, we buy too much food. It goes bad before we can even eat it.
Ew, gross.
Love Food, Hate Waste Canada is here to help and partnering with great organizations from coast to coast to coast. Teaching easy food tips like how to store your food so it lasts longer, and we have tasty options for people to better plan their family's meals. More importantly, we need you, your ideas, your friends, your energy. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at LFHW_CA and on Facebook at Love Food Hate Waste. And go to lovefoodhatewaste.ca to learn more. Together at Love Food Hate Waste Canada, we can create a tastier, fresher, and more sustainable future.
Okay, so as shown in the video, wasting food is bad for the environment and it costs you a lot of money over the year. The good news is Love Food Hate Waste has a few simple steps on how to help get you started. Their key concepts are keep it fresh, use it up, and plan it out. Come on, sorry. So under their keep it fresh section, they have 4 different guides. They have a produce guide, a fridge guide, freezer guide, and a shelf life guide. And these are just there so that way you can keep your food staying fresher longer and you don't have to buy as much because you're always throwing it out at the end. Pictured here is their fridge guide, and it just gives you a little explanation of where everything goes. At the back there, we have pamphlets on where everything goes in the fridge if you're interested. Their second major concept, use it up. Love Food Hate Waste provides multiple ways to use the food that you have so it doesn't go to waste. We have best before dates, 5 ways to revive your food, recipe ideas, wasting less with kids or grandkids, drying fruits and vegetables, and then also canning step by step. We have a simple 6-step process for canning food. Highly recommend it. Before I tried canning, it didn't work out. This is easy to follow. And then plan it out. So their third major concept. They got 10 easy steps on their website. Some of my favorites are number 2, so checking the refrigerator before you go, planning out your meals around what's left at the end of the week. Number 3, using a portion planner. So on their website, they've got links to portion planners where you can type in what you're eating for the day, and they can tell you how much you need to add to the meal, so that way you don't have too many leftovers or too little. Number 5, using building blocks. So they recommend having a few meats, cheeses, or meats, breads, pastas, so that way you can fall back on them.
What does number 1 mean?
Don't start from scratch. So you get one, so you start with the meat and you go out, sorry, no. Sorry, it's been a while since I've gone over this portion. So start with like 1 or 2 recipes that you always like to fall back on, and then you can branch out from there. So otherwise, you're always buying too many different groceries and you're forgetting what's left over at the fridge at the end of the week. Schedule a lazy night. I like to order a takeout every once in a while because cooking can be onerous after a while, I find. And then number 10, cook and freeze. So make a lot, package it, freeze it, then you're good to go when you need a quick meal at the end of the week. So I would highly recommend, if you have Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, to follow them. They post weekly reminders and little games of things to get your brain working and thinking about food waste. And then another good thing is the shelfie. So take a picture of your fridge before you go shopping so you know what you got. And I'll hand it back over to Rachel.
This really doesn't want to work, does it? So this is a picture of our centralized composting facility at the Foothills Landfill in Prince George. We have been diverting yard waste from the landfill for just about 25 years now, and recycling it into a soil amendment, which we have branded with the Norgrow brand. So we're calling it Northern Goodness for Your Soil. This is one of the few recycling programs that is actually carried out completely in Prince George. So a lot of the times things are being shipped down to the lower mainland, but we receive the yard waste from our residents, we process it through our composting operations, we screen it, we sample it, and then it's ready to then sell back to our residents. So we can go full circle in Prince George. We also ship our compost, backhaul our compost to Valemount and McBride. So if you're looking to buy a load of compost, you can get a truckload for $50 from the Valemount transfer station. As promotion of our product, we like to donate to a lot of community groups and community efforts of enhancement of the community. So we have done a number of donations to Valemount, and this was our loading day just to make it a little bit easier for our customers. So you're gonna have to unload it when you get home. So we thought if we brought in some equipment to load it for you, it would help a little bit. Okay, so then it skipped over. I did have some pictures of where it was used in Valemount. So they were using it on some of the roadways, I believe, to bring the grass back. And then we also do sell our Earth Machine backyard composters. So we sell them at cost. For what we get them for, we sell them to you at that same price. And this gives people the ability to compost their own kitchen scraps at home. Some of the benefits of using the backyard composter include that you're taking less trips to the transfer station to get rid of your waste, and then there's less material going into the landfill itself. So whether you're using the compost that you've produced with the backyard composter or our Norgrow compost, it helps to improve your soil health. It increases the soil's ability to retain moisture, so you don't have to water as much. It provides nutrients as well as a small amount of nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, so then you don't need to use as much chemical fertilizers. And we do actually sell the Earth Machine at the transfer station, so you can buy them in Valemount. Our last topic of our presentation is illegal dumping. So we do have an issue with illegal dumping in the regional district. We're no different than the rest of the province of British Columbia. And of course, we all know that it negatively impacts our communities socially, environmentally, and economically. And through the research that we've done on illegal dumping, when people have been caught, and we've asked them, why are you doing this? The ones that actually give up any information would say that they didn't know, that they say that it's a lack of awareness. So what we are trying to do then is to make sure that people know where the items can go. So a significant portion of material that is illegally dumped, such as yard waste, appliances, and tires, are accepted at a lot of our regional district facilities for no charge at all. So the regional district website details what's accepted at our facilities, what can be recycled, and as well as what the associated tipping fee may be. So Nathan had mentioned the new program about the appliances with refrigerant in them. So that was a commonly illegally dumped item. Now that you can dispose of it at the transfer station for free, you're saving $22.50, and we have seen a significant increase in Prince George. In 2018, I think we received about 650 fridges and freezers in the whole year, and at the end of August, we already had 778 come through our gates. So we're happy to see that people are making the effort, and now that we've provided all this advertising on this program, they know where they can bring it, and they know they don't have to pay for it. So, so providing the infrastructure and services that enables people to do the right thing is another key long-term behavior change and reduces illegal dumping. The regional district provides an extensive network of landfills, so we were saying we have 17 of them, with numerous disposal and recycling options. But we're still going to see, or we may still come across illegal dumping, because it's going to happen. So we want to encourage residents to use the Ministry of Environment's RAP line. to increase the awareness of illegal dumping, as well as providing an accessible option for reporting violators and illegal dump sites. So if you find an area where illegal dumping has taken place or you witness someone in the act, contact the RAP line. This is the most direct way to identify the problem and have conservation officers investigate. The sooner the problem can be addressed, the more likely we can deter other illegal dumping at that spot. So the regional district is working with the conservation officers by waiving tipping fees for community cleanups. So if your community group is interested in doing an illegal dump cleanup in your area, we ask that you email us at environment@rdffg.bc.ca. And that way we can send you an application to complete and then provide you with a waiver so that when you come to the transfer station here in Valemount, the attendants know that we have waived the tipping fees, and it's a win-win situation. We've cleaned up the site and you don't have to pay the tipping fees out of your own pocket. So we like to think of this as a community issue, and this is our community solution for that problem. So that's the end of our presentation, and if you have any further questions that we might not have answered or have come up from the presentation, we'd be happy to answer them. Turn on the lights. Okay. Thanks very much for the... Thanks. Yes.
I actually had a question. The significant change in the amount of appliances being taken to the landfill. I'm not sure that it's all because that they don't charge $22.50. Some of it may be that when, in the past, when we bought a fridge or a stove or a dishwasher or any of those appliances, we expected them to last 40 or 50 years. Now, I have read in Consumer Reports that the average, when you buy a new stove or a fridge, you can expect them to last 8 years, 12 with extensive repairs.
Yes.
So this kind of legislation, or you phone someone to repair your stove and they say, well, that would be a computer component that costs $300 more than a new stove. So the legislation has to change to stop manufacturers and I guess retail from selling this junk.
That's right. So BC is actually probably ahead of the game compared to some of the other provinces with the extended producer responsibility. So they're trying, through the recycling regulation, they're trying to then put the pressure back on the manufacturers, producers to address that concern specifically. With BC sort of headlining or being the ones taking this on, as a very small chunk of the entire country, we're not seeing that pay off, I guess, because it's such a small factor. But from what we've seen, it looks like the federal government is now pushing to sort of expand this across the EPR responsibility across the provinces. So by having that increase in population, increase in demand, we hope to see more changes in the way that the products are being produced and even the packaging that's coming with it. Yeah.
But I think the whole trend is going that way. It just produces really cheap, and it's totally figured it out how long it's going to last. So people have to throw it away and try something new. Eventually, it's all just about making money. It's all about money.
And I think as consumers, we are led to believe that I have the latest iPhone 10 now, the 11 is out, I need to go and buy that, though there's nothing wrong with my 10. And I think, we have to not buy into that as consumers. We need to try and make what we have last longer.
Even that being said, this is not compatible with...
Yes, so they're forcing the issue by doing that, yeah.
So much of this is caused by the lack of laws to prevent this kind of stuff all over the world.
Yeah. Any question in the back?
I'm curious to know why we can't bring our plastic and our foam to the recycling here.
Just because the way that we have that system set up, we only have the bin set up to collect those particular items. If we start throwing the plastic bags and the styrofoam in with that other material, when it gets to the processing plant and they go to sort it and to bale it, then the styrofoam breaks down and it makes a huge mess. The plastic gets all caught up in the processing. So because we've mirrored it after Recycle BC, they have kept it out of that stream by having the Recycle depots, Recycle BC depots. So all the material that goes into that green bin behind you, the glass, the styrofoam, and the bags. So
We can't have one of those bins here?
well, that's not the regional district. That particular.
The regional district makes it that much more difficult for me to be able to recycle I have to take my styrofoam, I have to save it for 6 months, and then I have to take it to Prince George.
Right. So
it would seem like that you could have a bin at the dump and we could take our plastic bags there. It's light, it's easily compacted. It seems like something the regional district could do.
well, we are in the middle actually of doing a study on our transfer stations and what we are actually offering at those sites, and that has come up. So as this report moves through our board and we get some decisions made, we will be looking to sort of see where the direction is for that.
At a guess, I would say that you're transporting that stuff anyway. Why not transport to the recycle depot instead of to the
To landfill, yeah. Yeah, we'll definitely include that in our notes for this evening. So.
And if you can add that there was more than one person at that.
Yes, and I mean, and I think every time that we come out into the community, that is brought up. So we definitely are looking that we need a solution for that. Yes.
Has the regional district thought about putting bins closer to town? I mean, I know a lot of people, they're either too busy to take their stuff out there, or they don't have a vehicle, and so they just put it in the garbage. And I realize that maybe recycling isn't like even the biggest concern as far as waste, but...
Right. Well, one of the things before the whole Recycle BC came into the province and the printed packaging paper EPR program, we used to have our bins, we had access to them at 24/7, and the amount of contamination that we got, the garbage that was thrown in there. So Mackenzie is an example where we have the bins in the community and there is nobody there, we don't have an attendant there. A lot of the times there's broken glass in there, there's all sorts of garbage that shows up in there. So that's one of our key problems with bringing it into the community and not having an attendant there to assist the public to make sure that what they're putting in there actually goes in there. But I appreciate that, again, that is another concern, is the accessibility of it.
I mean, when I go to the transfer station, the guy's over my shoulder watching what I'm putting in there. So
Right.
Is it happening at night or something that people are being careless, or?
Not at that site because it's closed now, right? Like, so in the evening there, you shouldn't.
I'm wondering, because I've never had someone like.
And I think it's just that he's trying to make sure that what you're putting in there.
I could be just hucking stuff.
But I mean, you can have that conversation with him and just sort of say, is there something that I've been putting, that I have here, or?
No, but what I mean is, you could have a local bin, right? And just maybe have it during the day or something.
Oh, and have an attendant there.
Use it, kind of thing. Like, I don't know. Just an idea.
Right.
Because during the day, it's like maybe people are with a camera or something to give people the idea that they should.
They need to make sure they get the right stuff in there.
I have a suggestion.
Yes.
Maybe at the info center you could have a bin of the stuff that has to be recycled in Prince George.
Writing it down. That's a good idea.
Someone's around there.
Encourage people to
a
come
lot of
into
time,
the
yeah.
office.
Because I mean, that is a big key to getting people to use the recycling bins, is that the access to them and the ease of using them. Because if it's easier just to throw it in the garbage, then are we really assisting?
To make a special trip in my car to go there also feels kind of wasteful.
Right.
Ride your bike.
Yeah, that's right. Fill my baby carrier
Then
with
you
bottles.
can shop at the swap shop if
Yes.
you go out and visit the landfill.
I have a couple of questions. One, what's the life expectancy of the Foothills landfill?
So last year, so every year we do an annual report on the landfill, how much waste has gone into the landfill, how much airspace has been used. And based on, we've had an engineer do sort of a projection of if everybody keeps doing what they're doing, cell 1 of the landfill will be full by 2031 is what they estimate. So by us trying to encourage people to divert their waste, reduce their waste, hopefully we can bring those numbers down and that cell will last longer than 2031. And then when we go into the next phase, because the site that our landfill occupies right now is 87 hectares, and we are currently using about 26 of that.
And if Gordon Sinclair was still alive, he would ask, how much fuel are we burning? What does it cost to run those trucks up and down the highway?
That, I don't have those numbers. So we do contract out to have that. And that comes up quite regularly because you're thinking carbon footprint. How do we justify having that material hauled? So one of the key things that comes up, right now we're in the middle of changing the Mackenzie landfill into a transfer station, and then we will haul their waste also to Foothills. In order to bring the Mackenzie landfill into compliance with the Environmental Management Act regulations, the price for that would be astronomical. So the idea then is, let's bring it to Foothills. We have a landfill gas capture system there, so as that garbage, that waste is breaking down, we can collect the methane that's produced. We've just signed an agreement with Fortis to use that gas. So rather than it just off-gassing into the environment, which is not good for any of us, that is an offset. I'm not going to say that it's a net zero offset on the hauling, but that is one of the key things is to try, if we have to try and bring all these landfills into compliance with the regulation, we're looking at a much larger bill for that.
One more thing, have you explored what those trucks could be bringing back? Because they're coming back, presumably coming back empty.
So we do backhaul compost in the season when it's acceptable, or if we've donated it in McBride or Valemount, we will also have them backhaul it within, yeah.
But that would be a small percentage of the trucks coming back with a product, eh?
So yeah, so right now it's one contractor that services both Valemount and McBride, and then he takes that to the transfer station. So when we can, we utilize him to haul our compost. But if he could haul other things, that would be great.
Mm-hmm. Probably looking at about a 25% backhaul. Ish.
Yes.
Do you keep track of the weight of the garbage coming from the different landfill, or the different transfer stations rather?
Yeah, so each load that comes into the landfill is weighed.
So year over year, you could say like, well, Valemount is producing like this much more than the year before, or this much less.
So we would have to do it as a Robson Valley comparison, just because McBride, Valemount, and Dunster all end up in that same bin. We have a rough idea with the amount of bins that are being collected at each site, but we could sort of see what the trend is.
Or I guess I guess basically
because the transfer stations are volume based, there is no scale, as you're coming into those sites to have those weights specifically. But we could come up with a percentage of it if that information, if we wanted to come back with that information, and we could give that to you even. Just if like over the last 5 years type. Yeah. And then because like in Valemount, you've seen an increase in the amount of people here because of the glacier I never say that right.
Valemount glacier destination.
Thank you. Just with construction and what have you, so it would be interesting to see how that has changed. No? Oh, okay. I'm completely out to lunch then. Yes?
Hi, you mentioned diverting food waste, of course, increases the lifespan of any of the dumps. Do you know how much it would increase the lifespan if we diverted all of our food waste?
When we did our last waste characterization study, so that was in 2018, we found, and it's like a snapshot of the waste that's coming in. They do an audit for 2 weeks. They found that 30% of the waste is organics.
So 30 by volume, so 30% longer. We would have to
you
buy
could
30%
think of it.
less
Yeah.
land to expand into. Is that kind of?
You could that's very rough because some of those organics they wouldn't necessarily put into the composting system, but 20 20%. Yeah. So I mean, that's a fairly rudimentary way to look at it, I guess you could say, but it definitely impacts the amount of space that's being taken up.
And so sorry, there were organics that are food waste and compostable, and there are also organics.
So like meat, you wouldn't normally put like into a food waste processing.
Okay. So maybe 20%?
A rough estimate, yeah. Yeah. So we found with that waste audit, the top 3 main ingredients in our waste stream are organics, plastics, and paper. Thanks for coming out. We appreciate it.
Well, we're here at the Valemount Community Hall with Rachael Ryder, who is the Waste Diversion Program Leader, and Nathan Hartnett, who is the Solid Waste and Waste Diversion Coordinator for the Regional District of Fraser-Fort George. Welcome. I understand October is Waste Reduction Month, and so why are you here in Valemount?
Well, we wanted to take the opportunity, being Waste Reduction Month, to come out to our local communities and just have an opportunity to talk with residents and provide them some information on waste reduction tips that the Regional District offers.
Okay, and I understand this is part of a tour that the Regional District is doing. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, so we decided to go to 4 of our communities. We started out in Mackenzie. Valemount was second on our road trip. We're off to McBride tomorrow and Prince George on the 22nd.
Okay, and so what sort of things are you hoping that people will take away from these seminars?
We're just hoping they find different options to reduce the amount of waste, be it food waste or recycling. It's just about thinking instead of the 3 R's, rethink, reduce, reuse, recycle, we want them to rethink, refuse, repair.
Right, so instead of the 3 R's that we've kind of grown up with over the last number of years, we now have 6 R's, right? So what did you think about the kind of questions that people were asking here tonight?
Well, it was great the turnout that we had and just the interest in recycling and making sure that they're doing it right. There's a lot of confusion with what goes in our bins. We had some great suggestions on how we could improve things, so we were happy to hear those. And food waste is always a topic of interest as well.
Right. I understand in the video that we saw there, amazing statistics about the amount of food that's being thrown away.
Yeah, it is quite shocking actually, and so to visit the Love Food Hate Waste website and to pick up some of the tips which will help you reduce the amount of food waste that you're producing is great.
Nathan, what would you say are the top 3 tips that you could give people off the top of your head? For those who won't watch the video, and there'll be a few, what would be the 3 top tips for people to cut back on the amount of food they're wasting?
Don't buy in bulk, plan your steps out, and use up what you have.
Okay, good advice. And what types of things, the Regional District is fairly proactive in how they're approaching recycling in our region, and of course here at the Valemount transfer station. What kinds of things are you looking at down the road?
Well, we always want to make sure that we have something in place that is usable, accessible, but that also has a market in the end so that material that's being collected has somewhere to go. So we're seeing a lot of fluctuation in the markets that are out there right now. And so going back to those 6 R's to rethink and reduce the amount that you're producing might take some of the pressure off that end number 6 use of recycling.
Right. And so one of the things that you we're talking about today is the Sort Smart program. Which of you would like to talk a little bit about that program?
Do you want to? No? So Sort Smart is part of our branding of our education program. So essentially we want you to sort smart when you're dealing with your waste to figure out what goes in the recycling, what can be reused, and ultimately if any of it has to end up in the landfill. So we have resources on the Sort Smart website that link to the Regional District webpage to give you options of what you can do and where you may be able to take items or resources to help you find that.
Right. Is that something that's going to be expanded on, the number of items and the types of items that are going to be available to be recycled here?
We're always looking, at what the service level is that's being offered. So we're in the process of evaluating that right now and looking at how we could possibly improve that.
And another area that people are very concerned about here is illegal dumping. We've had dumps in various places over the years in and around Valemount, and people stubbornly refuse to give those up. And what kinds of things can people do to put a stop to that? Because it really is harmful to the environment.
So one of the things that we encourage people to do is to use the RAP line from the Ministry of Environment and Climate Change Strategy. That's the best place to start so that you can make them aware of the area that's being abused, and then that's one of the first steps to addressing that problem. The regional district is also helping with community cleanups, where we will waive the tipping fees for the disposal of that cleanup event. So if you want more information on doing a cleanup in the Valemount area, just email us at environment@rdffg.bc.ca.
Okay. And one last thing I wanted to talk about was the composting program, and the Foothills landfill and the regional district is very aggressive about composting and does a really great job of it, and they also make it available. Can you talk a little bit about how it works here in Valemount?
So with the yard waste that's collected here in Valemount, right now we're only sort of statically doing compost, so it's a very rudimentary process right now, and we use it on the site of the old landfill. But as part of our solid waste management plan, we are looking at small-scale composting in communities like Valemount and McBride.
And for people who want more information, what are the key contacts they need here?
So if they can email us at environment@rdffg.bc.ca or give us a call at the regional district at 1-800-667-1959.
Great. Anything you want to talk about we haven't mentioned?
I think that pretty much sums it up.
I think you did a good job of capturing it.
Well, thanks for coming to Valemount and talking trash with us.
Thank you.